a second Daily Wire host has turned on former President Donald Trump, following in Ben Shapiro's footsteps, who was very, very critical of former President Trump after the midterm red wave turned out to be like a little bit of a puddle, kind of a trickle here. Well, Owens, Candace Owens specifically, well, Candace Owens had a few choice words for Trump on her show. So now, first, she claimed that Trump had gotten very mad at her for her being anti-vax, because at the time, Donald Trump had been taking credit for the coronavirus vaccine. Now, she starts out by referencing a Daily Beast article titled Candace Owens, Trump is pro-vax because he's too old to understand the internet, which is hilarious and true because he not that he's too old to understand the internet. It's just that he's too stupid to understand the internet. I think that's a clear distinction. Okay. That said, apparently word got around to him and it got under his skin. And so here's Candace Owens explaining how he felt about that.
Not only was he just mad, by the way, he then, during a golf session with some mutual friends of ours, had a person next to him who was egging this on, saying to Trump, and I know this because, again, this is a mutual friend, aren't you mad at Candace? Aren't you mad at Candace? Aren't you mad at Candace? And eventually he was like, yeah, I'm so mad at Candace. I'm so mad at Candace. And this got back to me that he was upset with me, that he was angry at me. And the next time that I saw him, he was quite rude to me. He was actually rude to me. I'm telling you this personal story because I think it is something that made me, for the first time, question him as a person. So you have an individual that spent years defending you, right? And that individual gave you a completely kind and fair interview. You said something yourself that your base didn't like, and you somehow transformed that into something that I did wrong. That's unacceptable.
Oh, yeah, this mutual friend was just talking so much crap about me, and I just think it was unacceptable. It's so unfair. And he was so mad at me. Oh, but it's not my fault that you don't understand that I'm running a grift here, that, pandering to anti-vax Republicans. It's kind of my thing. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I've defended you so much. How dare you? Candace Owens turning on Trump is yummy in my tummy. I love it. It's so good. Now, again, this is funny because this is about vaccines. Look, Donald Trump, he'd been floating anti-vax stuff for years. He went into the whole, vaccines cause, vaccines that cause autism. That's what I hear. Andrew Wakefield, very, very smart, very genius. Level paper. No, that entire Wakefield thing was completely discredited and debunked. There's no links between vaccines and autism. But anyway, he was anti-vax. And look, even to the point of where during COVID, he was like, why don't we shine light bulbs in your ass? That'll, or drink bleach. Could do that. But then, of course, he did Operation Warp Speed, and that did develop, gave a ton of money to, Pfizer and all these different companies, Moderna, to develop these vaccines. And look, generally, that's good. I support the vaccine. I've been vaccinated. I haven't gotten COVID somehow. So I would think it works. And look, people who have had the vaccine, who've gotten COVID, they generally turn out pretty okay for the most part. So yeah, the vaccine works. That said, okay. Seeing them, though, fight over this, again, hilarious, right? Because Donald Trump's taking credit for the vaccine. Again, he didn't develop it. He didn't create it. He just, shoveled a bunch of money towards it. Okay, fine. You know what? And I said this before. Okay, go ahead and take credit. I really don't care. We know the truth, but if you want to brag about it to try to get more MAGA, to take vaccines, it's great. If that has that effect. Now, it did not have that effect, unfortunately, because MAGA was like, no, I would rather drink piss. No, I'm literally like, that's what happened. There are people out there talking about drinking their own urine to fight against COVID. Not to mention, the ivermectin and all the other BS cures out there, right? And treatments that these people tried instead of getting vaccinated. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, the MAGA base pretty much thinks that, like, the vaccines, like Trump's out there saying, I made the vaccine. It saved many, many people. I mean, you could take it if you want it, but you probably should because it's good. Because I did this, but you don't have to. It's your choice. And MAGA's like, the vaccine is full of demons. A literal Satan in my veins. Yeah, okay. Look, it's a huge disconnect, right? Now, of course, the reason Candace Owens is anti-vax is not because she actually believes in, against vaccines. I don't think Candace Owens is an idiot. I think she's a grifter. I think she's somebody who is taking advantage of the idiocy in the Republican base in order to get a paycheck. And, it goes for her advantage. She's a black conservative, right? And so, well, look, she's wealthy because she don't want to pay taxes, for one. So, yeah, she actually is a conservative. But I doubt that she falls, for all the different, I don't think she believes the things that she says. I just don't. People aren't that stupid, unless you're Marjorie Greene. Okay. That said, the reason I say this is because being anti-vax on the Republican side is a great way to make money. I've told you before that she has sold supplements on her website. Her vaccine skepticism is all about selling supplements. A lot like what InfoWars was doing with their show, with their store. She would sell colloidal silver for COVID, which does not work for COVID. So understand that her financial interests lie in pandering to the anti-vax MAGA movement. That said, the timing here of her turnaround, her sudden turnaround, and why she shared this story on yesterday's show. Well, that's because you had the Republican Party ripping itself apart over Trump, over these losses in the midterm. Right now, it's a feeding frenzy. It is a bunch of piranhas, and they sense blood in the water. Trump, it's a feeding frenzy. Again, Ben Shapiro, as I mentioned, he went after Donald Trump, and his picks said candidate quality matters, and Donald Trump did absolutely nothing but burden the party. Then, of course, you had Rupert Murdoch, New York Post, Wall Street Journal, posting negative articles about Trump, glowing articles about Ron DeSantis. But, of course, that is mainly driven, though, by the donors. The donors, they're the ones that are really running the Republican Party, and the donors have had enough of Donald Trump, and they see the future in Ron DeSantis. So they're doing their best to push Donald Trump overboard. Now, if it fails, of course, immediately you're going to see Ben Shapiro. He'll be the first one to line up to kiss Trump's ass. And then, of course, you'll have Candace Owens, and you'll have all the people that have been speaking out against Trump suddenly groveling in front of him. And I wouldn't count them out. That said, they want DeSantis right now. In fact, look, here is Candace criticizing Donald Trump for attacking Ron DeSantis.
And I think that the MAGA movement is reflecting Trump. I think there is a trepidation that I'm sensing in Trump. And I think that trepidation is evidenced by him taking a random swing at DeSantis last week. I don't think it was helpful.
Random swing at DeSantis. I just don't think it was helpful. Now, there's actually two swings at DeSantis. One was when he called him Ron DeSanctimonious. Again, not exactly your best work. I know.
I know words. I have the best words.
But he's got the best words. He's got the best words. And then look, on True Social, because you can tell that Ron DeSantis, all the glowing talk about him is definitely getting under Donald Trump's skin. He said this on True Social. Now that the election in Florida is over and everything went quite well, Shouldn't it be said that in 2020, I got 1.1 million more votes in Florida than Ron D got this year? 5.7 to 4.6 million. Just asking. Just asking. Baby. Sad. Look, and the reason he brings this up, and it doesn't make sense, is the fact that presidential elections generally have higher turnouts than midterm elections. And so, of course, yeah, you're going to get more votes. Why would you bring this up? It's because you're unmanned by the potential of Ron DeSantis coming in and stealing your place in the Republican Party. He's scared. He literally does see Ron DeSantis as real competition, which is kind of hilarious because I actually don't think that Ron DeSantis would have a chance if Ron DeSantis tries to meet Trump on his own territory. But before I get to that, let me just point out how DeSantis did crush Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist is a terrible candidate. I definitely agree. Donald Trump lost to Biden. Donald Trump is hurting and he knows it. So again, the only thing that the thing that Donald Trump's trying to do right now is the only thing that he knows how to do, and that is to attack. To attack, and that is pissing off Republicans. Now, if Ron DeSantis runs and he focuses on the things that he did that chuds love, right? Like, deporting migrants to different states, using public money, which is absolutely abhorrent. But then again, chuds love it. Like, yes, send them to Martha's Vineyard. You send them somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, use them as a political prop. He loves that. Going to war with woke Disney, of course, doing things like don't say gay, in banning trans healthcare for trans teens, all that stuff. The chuds love it. They absolutely love this stuff. Donald Trump doesn't really have much of a record to run on. So if Ron DeSantis keeps to those things and does not go into the mud with Trump, he actually could do better. He might be a contender. Now, if he goes into the mud with Trump, that's when he's done. You don't get in the mud with a pig. And that's what Trump is. He'll Donkey Kong. I don't know for certain, but that's what I see happening. Okay? Now, that said, let me go back to Candace. And this is like the final nail, right? She said that while Trump could win in 2024, and of course, like a good Republican, she'll line up and vote for him, kiss his ass. But she says this: Trump needs to take a good look in the mirror, and he needs to take a good look in the room, and he needs to read the room accurately. Not going to happen. He needs to take a look at those that are around him, that are inspiring this paranoia and making him believe that everyone's out to get him, including his friends. And he needs to exercise a tiny bit more humility when he gets something wrong. Humility. Do you see humility happening with Trump? No. No, of course not. Do you even know who you're dealing with? Who you're talking about? Seriously. He's never admitted to doing anything wrong ever in his life. Look, to give you a great example, Dr. Oz got crushed by John Fetterman, and Donald Trump endorsed Dr. Oz. So now, but once Dr. Oz lost, he's like, you know what? Dr. Oz wasn't Melania's best choice. She convinced me. She really, really wanted me to endorse Dr. Oz. It wasn't her best choice. No, her not best choice was marrying you. The same. But, and then of course blame Sean Hannity as well, and everyone else not taking any responsibility for anything. Because that's who Donald Trump is. He'll never take responsibility. He'll never have any sort of humility when he gets something wrong, because he'll never even admit that he gets something wrong. It's amazing. But she continues, Trump is not perfect. I am not perfect. I get things wrong. You don't say. I edit. I say, thank you guys for bringing me this new information. I hadn't realized that. And there's still a period where he could transform. But I think the results of last night's election, which are still coming in, show that we aren't sure that he's not sure. And therefore, we aren't sure. And that's all I have to say about that. That is a lot of words to say pretty much nothing. Other than, I guess, there's one more rat fleeing the ship. Again, he could turn it around. They'll kiss his ass. But if they're successful in pushing him off the ship, well, there's no coming back from that.